Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Steelers Spotlight. I'm Aaron Becker, and we've got a really cool guest on today. He's bringing a unique inside perspective on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he has a pretty cool story to share about his work around the community. He is Pittsburgh Steelers team chaplain, Kent Chevalier. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Aaron, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So not a lot of people may be familiar with your kind of role, and maybe some in general didn't even know it existed, right?
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering if you could talk about your role a little bit, what it looks like on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, and really how you got into it.
Yeah, man. So invited by head coach Mike Tomlin, man, going in 6 seasons now, we've been apart. So my wife and I, we do this together. So if we think about it like this, she's the chaplain to all the ladies of the organization. So think coaches' wives, players' wives and girlfriends, front office wives, things like this. And then I'm the chaplain to all the guys. And when I say chaplain, like, man, the first thing when I hear chaplain, I think like hospital chaplain or like military chaplain. So when I first got into this, man, I didn't really have a category for what does a chaplain do. So basically what we kind of describe it as is we're non-denominational pastors to the team at the invitation of Mike Tomlin. So just like the team might have a masseuse, just like a team might have a team clinician, we were invited by Mike Tomlin to be one of the services that the team provides for players and coaches. And so we are non-denominational chaplains to the team. And how we got into this, man, this is wild. So I've been a pastor in the Pittsburgh area for now going on 25 years. And when I was, this is 7 years ago now, when Vance McDonald, tight end of the Pittsburgh Steelers, began to attend the church where I was pastor, he told me for the first time that the Steelers were looking for a chaplain. And so he and I connected and we got to know each other a little bit. And one thing led to another, that he introduced me to Coach Tomlin. And then he invited me to come and be a part by introducing me to a group called Athletes in Action. So I don't technically work for the Steelers. I work for a group called Athletes in Action, and he invites me in as a guest every day into the building to come alongside these guys and serve their families in that way.
Very cool. So when the both sides kind of realize you're interested in one another, how was it kind of created, right? What you were going to do. Did you have a say? Did they kind of have an idea of like what they wanted you to do on a day-to-day basis, or did it kind of just be created as it went along?
Yeah, so NFL chaplaincy has a long history. So we're talking way back in the late 70s when this really got going. And there was a group of men who were college chaplains, college football chaplains, that were noticing, man, when guys go to the NFL, there isn't really a pastor or somebody who's there. So, different GMs, different head coaches started saying, hey, we would like this. And so when I got into this, there is a long legacy of Steelers chaplaincy going back to the early 80s. The first guy, Hollis Half, after him, there's been, when you think about the tenure of coaches that we have, 3 head coaches, and I think, what is that, 57 years?
Yeah.
We've had a long-standing chaplaincy, but it just so happened when I was, I felt like God was kind of changing my trajectory with what I was doing with my life and, in the local church context for a long time. And then when Vance introduced me to Coach T, he had a really strong vision for what he wanted in this role. So he basically invited me to do what it is that he wants, right? So he actually invites me and Erica to provide Bible studies for, so I provide Bible studies for the coaches, and whoever wants to come to that, they can come to that. Bible studies for the players, whoever wants to come to that, they can choose to do that if they want to do that or not. And then chapels, the night before the games, anybody in the organization who wants to participate is invited, and they can come and voluntarily, be a part of those things. And then Erica, the same thing on the counterparts. So coaches' wives Bible study, players' wives and girlfriends Bible study. Things like this is what Coach T, the first meeting, he basically said, this is exactly what I want. Would you be interested?
Very, very cool. Well, it's been a fun season for the most part so far for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 10-4, and
Yeah.
with a chance to clinch the division this weekend against the Baltimore Ravens on
Let's go,
Saturday.
man. Hat and t-shirt game. Let's go.
Absolutely. I know your job isn't based off of wins and losses per se, right? But how's the season really been going from your perspective? I know a lot of the players in the locker room have been talking about how this team feels different from previous years. Do you get that same feeling?
Yeah, and I think, every year I feel like teams say that, right? But there is this sense of unity, of brotherhood, of man, we're going to do whatever it takes to be able to get that confetti raining down on us at the end of the year, and I love what I'm seeing from guys sacrificially saying, "Hey, I'll play my part in this. I know my lane, and I'm going to do my job." But also the encouragement of other guys, and saying, "Hey, man," and pulling them up when they're down. That's something that I'm really been seeing with the amount of injuries that we have faced this year. I'm seeing guys just, that's a tough thing to be on IR, and you sort of like, where do I belong? Where do I fit? And I'm not allowed to practice. I'm not allowed to be out there, but there's a camaraderie that's saying, hey, you're still a part of us, man. Still come being around. And so there is that uniqueness that I'm seeing, especially amongst the veteran leadership, of saying and teaching the younger guys, hey, this is how we do it. When it's a short week like this is how we do it. And so it's incredible to kind of sit back in my role and observe all of those things. I've learned to stay in my lane, man. I don't know, not to say, man, I love football. I played football in high school, but at this level, dude, I don't know anything. So I just stay in my lane and I contribute where I'm invited.
Very cool. I mean, I'm sure everyone tuning in finds that incredibly interesting, getting that inside locker room feel, the camaraderie. A lot of people don't see that on a day-to-day basis, and the fact that you do is pretty cool. Now, the Steelers did lose last weekend to the Philadelphia Eagles, 27-13, but something that you do, win or loss, every single week after every single game is lead a prayer circle at the 50-yard line. It could be Steelers players, coaches, and you invite the opposing team's players and coaches as well. How did that come to be, and what's that really all about?
Yeah, man. So this is another one of those things that's been happening in the NFL since the early 80s. So there, back in the early 80s, there was two chaplains, two opposing teams who were really great friends. And they had some players on their teams who said, man, I would love to, after the game, see my friends. Let's pray together, because they're following God together. They're good friends. So they took a risk after the game. This is in like 1981, maybe 1980. And when the NFL was like, I'm not sure about this, they took a risk and said, we're going to pray after the game. So, dude, this has been going on for a long time. So when I inherited this moment, if you will, as a chaplain, I noticed something that, man, you see guys who are coming out to the 50, they're praying together, grab a knee, grab a hand. And what I started to notice is that these guys, man, after a game, it is brutal when you lose, right? I mean, nobody likes to lose. But what it says is that there is a brotherhood in the NFL of guys who are all following God together. And that brotherhood, you never know if you're going to be on that guy's team in a couple years, or whatever it would be. So there's a brotherhood that is there. But then also this moment that I sat back and I realized the entire 3 hours of this game, people are worshiping these players, these coaches. They're shouting their names. They're literally, if I were to look at, they're raising their hands and they're saying, "You're awesome," and giving them all kinds of praise, all kinds of worship, all kinds of glory, right? And so I challenged the guys, and I started this in first season. in 2019, basically saying, hey, you guys aren't built for that. Nobody can sustain that kind of worship because as humans, we're not created for that kind of platform, that kind of glory, that worship. So it would be really wise for you to, at the end of a game, let's get out there and give thanks to God for the opportunity that he gave to you, the skills and the talents and the abilities that he gave to you. And let's give thanks for that. But at the same time, let's also deflect that glory back to God where it belongs. And let's lead the way by showing people that, you know what? I didn't get here by just hard work and talent. This was an opportunity that God gave me. So I'm going to deflect that glory right back to him. So for 6 seasons now, we've come to call that moment at the 50, the deflect the glory moment. And I'm excited to, Johnny Shelton, chaplain of the Baltimore Ravens, he and I have been in those prayer circles together for now 6 seasons straight. And he's just become a really great friend. So I'm excited with the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers, man. We're going to come to that prayer circle and we're all going to deflect that glory right back to God where it belongs.
Very cool. Well, you said deflect the glory. It's on your sweatshirt right
That's right.
there. And it's
right.
really been a slogan you said you've been running with for a really long time. And you've really taken it, like I said, and run with it. You created these sweatshirts that you're wearing right now and have really just built it into this big campaign to raise money and awareness for a few awesome charities around the Pittsburgh area. Can you talk about how that came to be and those 3 charities a little bit?
Yeah, man. So, Erica and I, we had this idea of not only do we want to spread this message in the sense of it applies to all of us, not just NFL players and coaches, right? You and I have been given so much. We have so much to be grateful for. And at the same time, we have to recognize that we didn't get here just by ourselves. We got here through networks and friendships and connections. And also, ultimately, God is the one who gave us this opportunity to do what it is that we're doing, even right now, Aaron. Like, when I think about this, oh my goodness, I don't like, I shouldn't be in this role. You know what I mean? Like, God, like, he created this for me and I'm loving it. So, this message we wanted to get out to not just NFL players, but also to, hey man, Pittsburgh Nation, like Steelers Nation, man, we love, we're born and raised here. So the sense is this: we had this idea, how could we raise some money for some great local Pittsburgh nonprofits who are doing incredible work? And we wanted to, in essence, deflect that glory off of that moment, the prayer at the 50, and to highlight, if you will, deflect the glory to other great organizations in the Pittsburgh area, to let people know about them if they don't know about them. And then the fun thing was to deflect the net proceeds to these incredible organizations. So Urban Impact Foundation, Pastor Ed Glover has been connected to the north side of Pittsburgh for, Urban Impact has been in existence for 30 years, doing incredible work with arts and entertainment, performing arts and sports and options where, when kids are graduating from high school, what's their next step? And so they've created these next step programs. And so I just love Urban Impact. The second one that we decided was Pittsburgh Kids Foundation. Erica and I have been a part of the PKF for a long time, going on like 27 years. And a lot of people might not know the work that they are doing with uniting the Church of Pittsburgh around students, specifically doing camps and retreats, also mobilizing students from Pittsburgh churches to go and do mission trips to Cap Haitian, Haiti, to do some great work with kids in orphanages. They built a hospital. So, man, an incredible organization doing wonderful things. And then the last one was Light of Life Rescue Mission. They're doing such great work with people who have found themselves with addiction, who have found themselves as homeless. So they're doing the incredible work with men and women and children who are in those tough spots to help them transform their lives, get back on their feet with so many great programs, from addiction recovery to job placement, to on the cold nights of having a rescue mission where people can come and have a warm bed for the night. So these three great Pittsburgh organizations, we wanted to deflect those net proceeds of the sale of a simple hoodie, man. And I was blown away at what God has done. This has, and I want to be careful because, this has nothing to do with Erica and me. This is like, look what God did. And by the sale of these hoodies, man, this is crazy. We were able to, because some generous donors like double, matched what we did. So with matching grants, we raised over $37,000 with these
Wow.
hoodies, bro. Like, it's crazy to me. So not only did we get the message out of, man, this is not about us, any of us. This is about God doing what he does in our lives to prosper us, to help us, right, to place us. But not only that, like, we were able to deflect the proceeds to some great organizations, man. And I'm just going, wow, we all got to be a part of that. That was amazing what God did.
$37,000 is an awesome amount of money for some sweatshirts and a really,
Bro.
really cool message that you guys have been able to share. That is really, really cool. Something else I kind of learned about your campaign near the end here is that you guys said the furthest you guys shipped a sweatshirt was to Hawaii. I mean, that is incredible in itself. I think everyone's very aware that Steelers fans are all over the place, right? They're
That's
super
right.
well traveled. But I think this campaign is bigger than football. And,
Yeah.
I think you'd be the first to say that. So how cool is it to see the kind of reach that you've been able to have with this campaign?
Yeah, dude, it's been blowing my mind. We thought maybe we would sell like 50 hoodies. So like it just goes to show that I can't dream big enough. I can't outdream God. And so to sell, I think we ended up like almost 700 hoodies sold. And dude,
Awesome.
that was just because we did it, on Thanksgiving Day, we dropped the hoodie. And we kept the store open until Giving Tuesday, because the whole campaign was, man, we have so much to be thankful for. So we opened it on Thanksgiving. And then on Giving Tuesday, we're going to close it because we want to deflect the proceeds, give it away on that day. And so we never dreamed, bro, that it would go. And so we might do it again. I don't know. It was a ton of work that we did not anticipate. Things like PayPal accounts and, tax stuff, things that we did not even think through, like Hawaii, man, they've got a different tax code than we do in Pittsburgh. So we didn't take that all stuff into consideration. So anyway, we might do it again. We'll see.
Well, you hinted to it. I'm not going to hold you to anything, but for those tuning in that want to keep an eye out for the next thing that you feel like you want to do to help anybody or everyone around, where can they find your work? Where can they follow you? Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I'm on socials. I'm too old for TikTok. I don't get it. It's not my thing. But like, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, the old people, socials. And I'm also on LinkedIn. And so if people want to, find out what we're doing, if we're going to drop another one, maybe in the spring or whatever, I'll try to do it. Give people a heads up, and hopefully people will share that out, because the whole concept of a drop is to say, hey, we're going to keep it open for this short amount of time so that we can, figure out the inventory, that we have to print, and then we're going to ship them all after that. Because I've had so many people who are, how do I get one of these hoodies now? And I'm like, bro, you missed the window, and I don't have the time to keep going with this, because it's a ton of social media work, and I don't want to keep doing that kind of stuff. So just follow me on socials, Kent Chevalier.
There you go. Well, go find them. One thing I like to do before the end of every Steelers Spotlight episode is give our guests the opportunity to spotlight someone or something in their life. Can be career-wise, family, even just a cool experience you had. Anything specific you want to share?
So, dude, because this is like a surprise question, right? So when I'm thinking about this, there's a guy on my heart right now that Pittsburgh needs to know about. This guy, he raises 100% of his salary to do what it is that he does. His name is Mike Rue. And everybody, especially if you're a young adult in this area, you need to know something, that he's created a movement, and it's called Acoustic Soul. So Mike Rue is an urban missionary with Urban Impact Foundation, one of the net proceeds that we went to. And this guy, I'll just say it in my language, and hopefully people can pick this up. God has his hand on this guy, and he's doing some incredible things, not only through Urban Impact Foundation. He is the director of their options program, but he has a heart for young adults in the city of Pittsburgh. And so, man, I just want to, kind of direct that glory, if you will, deflect it to Mike Rue. Go find him, because some of the things that he's doing for young adults in this city, man, is absolutely exciting. So not only Urban Impact, but specifically Mike Rue. This dude's awesome. Everybody needs to know about what he's doing.
Very cool. Well, Ken, I really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast and talk some Steelers football, talk about the Deflect the Glory campaign. It's been really, really fun.
Well, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate you, man. Here we go.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone has a happy and healthy holidays as we enter the holiday season this week. That's it from this episode of Steelers Spotlight. I'm Aaron Becker.